He said that Jesus Christ has risen, and he is the open door.
Well, how you doing, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Cajun Conservative, where I talk about life, I talk about liberty, and I talk about the pursuit of happiness. And I'm showing the world that Cajuns do have intelligence. Hope you're having a good day, good week, wherever you are located. I hope you are being blessed beyond comprehension and that the Lord is showing you favor in every way of your life. If this is your first time listening to the Cajun Conservative Show, welcome to the family. If you can, please hit the subscribe button, hit the follow button on the platform you are listening to. That tells you every time we have a new episode that comes out. We are on Apple, Google, Spotify, Rumble, and YouTube, and also Amazon Music and Anchor. You can go ahead and check us out on all the platforms. If you want any information on the Cajun Conservative, go check me out on my website, thecajunconservativeshow.wordpress.com, or on my Facebook page, The Cajun Conservative Show, or you can find me on Truth Social and Twitter as well. Ladies and gentlemen, a lot of news this week. I mean, we had a lot of things happen, and look, this is one of the weeks that within 4 days, I'm glad I do two shows. Let's just say it like this, because if I had all the news articles and everything I wanted to talk about for just one episode, I would have had to do a 2 to 3 hour episode. But thank goodness that I'm here. I got half of the week's stories lined up. I cannot wait to dive into them, and we're gonna go ahead and jump right into it. Because, like I said, ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot of things I want to try to cover in this short period of time that we have together. And look, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to go ahead and say this right off the jump. The left, to get what it wants, will resort to violence to justify their cause. You might be saying, Isaac, why are you bringing this up? Why are you bringing this up? Because, look, and I talked about this a few weeks ago, ladies and gentlemen, how when the opinion from the Supreme Court first dropped, and how the media was saying how this is all bad, and that the Supreme Court was overturning Roe versus Wade like this has never happened before, that the Supreme Court overrules something. People started protesting. They started protesting in front of the Supreme Court, which I'm not against. I think you should. As an American citizen, you have the First Amendment right to go ahead and voice your opinion. I'm not against this. What gets me is when they started going to the justice's home. And they started talking about rioting. There was one video I seen today that it was on a Snapchat news station, to where a woman said, if you take away my choice to my body, we're gonna start rioting. And look, ladies and gentlemen, this happened over the summer of 2020 when they had an incident where they had a man that was unjustifiably killed. And the left went ahead and took that man's murder, George Floyd's murder, and said, well, you know what we're going to do? We're going to riot and pillage, and we're going to change justice reform. So to go ahead and change the outcome of something, they went ahead and resorted to violence. And ladies and gentlemen, this is what they were doing here. And thank goodness that there wasn't a lot of violence that we thought. But look, I have an article right here from the Daily Caller that says pro-abortion arsonists have firebombed 3 pro-life groups in a month, ladies and gentlemen. The left, this person, whoever this arsonist is, went ahead and threw firebombs into 3 places of businesses. The offices of 3 different pro-life organizations were firebombed in the course of a month after a leaked draft opinion revealed the Supreme Court would likely overturn Roe versus Wade. By overturning Roe, the court would allow states to determine their own abortion restrictions, as they did prior to 1973, and eliminate the constitutional ban on most abortion restrictions throughout the first 6 months of pregnancy. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is starting about the left turns to violence. We know this, ladies and gentlemen. And like I said, I've talked about this a few times already. Why am I bringing it up? Because there was an incident this week that really troubled us in America. We had a man from California go and attempt to take out a sitting Supreme Court justice. So this happened Wednesday. That was be the 8th of June. The 8th of June. This is a man allegedly caught lurking around near U.S. Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh's home early Wednesday has been charged with the attempted murder of a federal judge. The Department of Justice confirmed to the Daily Wire. The criminal complaint was filed today charging Nicholas John Roscoe, age 26, of Simi Valley, California, for federal charges of attempted murder of a Supreme Court justice. FBI Baltimore Joy Gerard said on Wednesday afternoon Roscoe is expected to have an internal appearance in the U.S. District Court in Greensboro today at 3 p.m. This was done on Wednesday before the U.S. Magistrate Judge Timothy J. Silva. Now listen to this, ladies and gentlemen. Nicholas John Roscoe, 26, of Simi Valley, California, was arrested in the Washington suburbs of Chevy Case, Maryland, early Wednesday. Police said a DOJ affidavit detailed how Roscoe allegedly traveled to Kavanaugh's home armed with a weapon and burglary tools with the intent to kill the justice and prevent him from ruling on Second Amendment and abortion cases. So, ladies and gentlemen, now we get to where I'm bringing this out. The left will resort to violence for their cause. I have a whole episode talking about this, ladies and gentlemen, but this is disturbing. The people out there are crazy enough because of abortion and because of Second Amendment gun right laws. Are planning attacks on Supreme Court justices and are taking out abortion, pro-life centers, or take out pro-life groups. Ladies and gentlemen, the last episode I talked about parents bringing kids to drag queen shows. And I said on that episode, I'm starting to get to a point, where can America go from here? And ladies and gentlemen, first off, a judge is ain't supposed to rule on people's opinions. They're supposed to rule on the rule of law, the Constitution, and what Congress passed, and what is constitutional or not. That's why the Supreme Court's there. It's not like the House and the Senate or the presidency, where they make laws and they pass laws, and that's when it goes into effect, and you can go ahead and have an opinion on that. But ladies and gentlemen, this man trying to attack a conservative judge because he didn't like potentially how he was going to rule is disturbing. And then you have the man that's bombing pro-life centers, as I said, to where that's really going to change everything. And ladies and gentlemen, I just said that the left will resort to violence if they cannot get their way. I use the comparison of a child. When a child can't have his way, he starts boudin and he starts throwing things around. Ladies and gentlemen, this is how it's looking right here. Now, Mitch McConnell has been on my bad side for the last couple of days because of certain things, but Mitch McConnell was right on this. And Mitch McConnell went ahead and said on the House floor, went ahead and said, this is where we are. If these reports are correct, there was an assassination attempt against a sitting justice or something close to it. This is exactly the kind of event that many fear that a trembling breach of the court, a terrible breach of the court rules the norm could fuel. This is exactly the kind of event that many, worried with the unhinged, reckless, apocalyptic rhetoric from promoting figures towards the court going back many months and especially in recent weeks, could make more likely. McConnell also urged the House of Representatives to pass legislation to extend around-the-clock security protection to the justices and their family. The bipartisan bill, sponsored by Republicans Texas Senator John Cornyn and Delaware Senator Chris Coons, unanimously passed the Senate on May 9th. Now, we got word that the House was sitting on this. And this just shows where Nancy Pelosi's at. The House was sitting on this until this event. Now this event has happened. Nancy Pelosi, oh, let's hurry up and get it. Let's hurry up and get it done. Because she don't want to look bad. Now, ladies and gentlemen, there's some people that are claiming that Republicans are saying, well, this is inciting violence from the left. Because Chuck Schumer called out Brett Kavanaugh and Neil Gorsuch and said that they were going to have wrath to pay for passing bills like they not bills, but the rulings that they passed, just like the abortion case that is coming up. So now they went ahead and they pushed this, ladies and gentlemen, but it just isn't Congress that is, or Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats in the House that are being slow in protecting our court system. It is also Merrick Garland. I'm going to call out Merrick Garland, the Attorney General of the United States of America, because there's these people that are protesting in front of the houses of these justices are breaking laws. There is a federal statute where it says that you cannot protest in front of a juror or a judge's home, because those are the ones that typically make the decisions. But what is Merrick Garland doing? Nope, there's no. He reminds me of I don't know how many of y'all watch VeggieTales, but there was a VeggieTales called Sherlock Holmes, and he was trying to find the golden ruler, and there was two police officers in London with Sherlock Holmes, and every time Sherlock would find a clue, both of them would say, "Move along, nothing to see here," and that's what I'm seeing the Justice Department is doing right here, because they see the law that's being broken, and all they tell people is, "Hey, move along, there's nothing to see here." But ladies and gentlemen, back to how our country has got to this point. First off, people can't disagree with anything. They always got to try to agree, and especially the left. If the left don't get what their way is, they pound and they boudet and they say, "Hey, we're gonna go home." Ladies and gentlemen, this is a big event. Now, on that note of the big event, how many of y'all heard it besides us talking about it here on the Cajun Conservative Show, or maybe Fox News, or maybe Newsmax? Ladies and gentlemen, the New York Times didn't even bring this out. CNN, MSNBC, I think mentioned it maybe like 30 seconds of it, and they went on to the next story. Why? Because first off, this don't fit their agenda, but secondly, this also proves that the left is inciting violence. You can compare this to the summer of 2020 when the George Floyd riots happened. Don't you remember CNN walking on the streets and saying, "Oh, these are mostly peaceful protests," while a building is burning in the back? See, ladies and gentlemen, this proves that the left the left incites violence. Now, ladies and gentlemen, they will always point to January 6th, and we're going to talk about January 6th and the committee that came out last Thursday night. But the left pushes that. See, these nasty MAGA people, they went ahead and incited violence. They took over the Capitol, they're evil people. But ladies and gentlemen, when you start mentioning about George Floyd and the riots that are going on, let's move along. Nothing to see here, like Merrick Garland says. I don't know if he says that, but that's what I feel he does. Now, Tom Cotton has asked, the Republican from Arkansas, say, "Hey, we need to get this dude out of here. We need to get him out of here." And look, there's a lot of things Merrick Garland is not looking at. There's a lot of things that Merrick Garland is throwing under the rug in the name of politics. One is immigration. But ladies and gentlemen, this is the left. Look, and this is how the left does. If they see something that is happening, they will either hide it or they're going to go ahead and say, "Oh, there was no laws broken." Now, the man they caught, yeah, they charge him with attempted murder. Great. But ladies and gentlemen, this is a big deal. It's coming to a point where our nation, where we can't look, we disagree with it, but what are we going to do about it? Look, go vote. Hey, look, how to say consequences? Elections has consequences, ladies and gentlemen. We seen that from the last election of 2020 in the presidential election, where it's assumed that Joe Biden has won. And look at all the stuff that's happening now. It's sad, ladies and gentlemen. It's sad where our country has come to. I'll be right back after this short break. How you doing, everyone? Isaac here. I'm the Cajun Conservative, and I want to thank Brother Lanny Hayes from Hayes' Dump Truck Service for their generous support of the Cajun Conservative and Brothers Just Searching. Hayes' Dump Truck Service serves the Lafayette and surrounding areas. If you have any job that you need done, like cleanup or hauling material to your job site or your home, we haul limestone, we haul sand, we haul topsoil, any type of material you need. If you're in the Lafayette and surrounding areas, please call Brother Lanny Hayes at 337-852-8043. Remember, Hayes' Dump Truck Service, where Jesus is Lord of the company. All right, everybody, welcome back to the second segment of the Cajun Conservative Show. So California had a few they had a few primary elections and some big news. Progressive San Francisco DA recalled by voters in one of the nation's most liberal cities. So this DA that has been recalled was a progressive. He let everybody out of jail. Hey, if you did this crime, whatever like that. So he got voted out. Now, also in L.A., crime-focused L.A. mayoral race headed for a runoff after Republican wins big. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. So we had the Los Angeles mayor race is headed to a runoff after no one candidate cleared 50% of the vote, with former Republican and billionaire Rick Carso winning with plurality, a lot of votes. Democrat Carrie Bass is projected to face Caruso in the November runoff, beating out 7 other candidates who campaigned for the office. As of Tuesday night, Bass had 37% and Caruso received 41%. So if they say like this, ladies and gentlemen, if the mayoral election just went off not clearing 50% of the vote, there would have been a Republican mayor in the city of Los Angeles. I would have fell out my chair, to be honest with you. But ladies and gentlemen, this just proves something right here, that a red tsunami is coming. Because when you go ahead and get cities like Los Angeles and San Francisco possibly being red, it's not, I'm not saying everything would have been red, but the leadership of the city would have been red. Now, the DA, I hope they get a good DA in there that's not as progressive, and he goes ahead and he goes ahead and pushes on crime, because that's the whole thing about San Francisco, ladies and gentlemen. San Francisco is like New Orleans. Very historical cities, very beautiful cities on the outward looking in. But when you get into these cities, they're filthy, they're dirty. There's homeless people, and I'm not against homeless people, because look, there's some people that go hard on their luck and they don't have a place to stay. I understand all that, but ladies and gentlemen, these towns are filthy. And you know what's one thing they have in common? They're all led by Democratic candidates or Democratic governor, mayors or whatever. And ladies and gentlemen, the way that it looks, that's how the left wants this country to be. They don't want us to prosper. They don't want us to live free. I say at the beginning of this show, talking about life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. That's the founding father. That was the founding father dreams for this country. But unfortunately, the Democratic leadership don't want us to be happy and pursuing lifelong dreams. They want us to be in control. And that's what this is all about, ladies and gentlemen. Also, Fox News has been in the news. Fox News Pride Month segment leaves conservatives stunned. That is Town Hall Media. This is from the Daily Wire. Propaganda lently conservatives call out Fox News for segment promoting child's gender transition. Now, what we're talking about here, well, Fox News ran a story, and I watched the story, ladies and gentlemen. It's about this family where a little girl came to them and at 5 years old and says, I don't feel I'm a little girl, I'm a little boy. So at the age of 5 years old, these parents took this child and went ahead and did a transition on her. Now this child is running around saying I'm a boy, and they're going all over these news networks trying to encourage people that if your kids come at a very young age and say if they're a girl and they say they're a boy, you got to help make them be a boy. This lady even insulted Christianity because she said, I believe in my conservative view and religious freedom. I believe God made him that way. But there's a problem with that, just on that, ladies and gentlemen, the spirituality of this. Okay, God, the Bible says that God is not a God of confusion. I believe this is in 1 Corinthians. So if God is not a God of confusion, why would he make a little girl, and I made a mistake. He's supposed to be a boy. Oh my goodness, the factory messed up on that one. I can see God in heaven just shaking his head. Oh man, oh boy, I made a mistake on earth. I'm the God of the universe, and I made a couple of humans boys when they should have been girls, and a couple of girls that should have been boys. Ladies and gentlemen, that woman coming out and saying that on a segment, I was just like, huh? And that's the preacher side of me, ladies and gentlemen. That's the preacher side of me. Wait a minute. You're saying that God made him that way. God made him a girl, but he was supposed to be a boy. So you're telling me that my God is a God of confusion. If God's a God of confusion, I don't want to serve a God of confusion. I want to serve a God that knows what he's doing. He's running this ship in space at thousands and millions of miles per hour, ladies and gentlemen. Just think about that. But according to this woman, God made him that way. God made him feel like he was a boy, so they helped him become a boy. Now, ladies and gentlemen, on this note, before I get into the January 6th stuff that went on, this shouldn't surprise us for Fox News. I'm gonna be honest with you. I quote a lot of Fox News stories. They're one of my main news sources. But ladies and gentlemen, Fox News is not conservative. At best, I would call them middle ground. You have people that are conservative on there: Sean Hannity, Laura Ingraham, Tucker Carlson, and all these men and women that are on there. Yes, they're fundamentally conservative. Matt Walsh from the Matt Walsh Show at the Daily Wire tweeted this: I have appeared on Fox News many times. I appreciate the platform they're giving me. If what I'm about to say ruins that relationship, so be it. We have to call this evil largely out wherever we see it, especially on our own side. Now, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, Matt Walsh has appeared on Fox News. I've quoted Fox News in articles, but he is right on that we have to call it out when we see it. But like I said, I've been knowing this for a while. Fox News is not correct news now. They are leaning more to the left, especially after the farm owner gave it to his two sons. I can't remember who owned it. But ladies and gentlemen, Fox News is not, unless you watch Tucker and Laura Ingraham and Sean Hannity, especially this shows me that they're going more progressive than anything, and it's dangerous. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into a little bit of January 6th, ladies and gentlemen. So there was a lot of things that happened on the 9th of June before the committee went ahead and dropped it. One, the FBI arrested a candidate for governor on January 6th. Related charges. The FBI arrested Republican Michigan Global National candidate Ryan Kelly on Thursday on charges related to the January 6th riot at the Capitol. Kelly was charged with a misdemeanor, including committing violence against a person or property on restricted grounds, damaging federal property, disorderly conduct, and entering into restricted buildings on the grounds without permission. The New York Times reported quoting the criminal complaint. Now, he is the first person to run for a major election seat in a state. But ladies and gentlemen, that happened on the night. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is why I call this committee a coup. The Democrats are using this as a platform to go ahead and to get people's minds off of real issues. First off, a lot of people don't remember what happened. There's a lot of people that remember what happened on January 6th, but a lot of people are not worried about it. On that note, the Washington Commanders, Jack Del Rio, called January 6th a dust-up and blasts the double standards on George Floyd protests. The Washington Commanders defensive coordinator, Jack Del Rio, sparked backlash when he referred to the January 6th riot on Capitol Hill as a dust-up and complained that those responsible for all the riots across the country during the 2020 election were not held to the same standards. Del Rio spoke to reporters on Wednesday, and someone asked about a recent tweet which he had compared the riots after George Floyd's death to the January 6th riot, and asked why, given all the focus on the latter, no one had any interest in getting to the bottom of the former. Now, I don't know if Jack Del Rio is a conservative, but ladies and gentlemen, he is right. Nobody cared. There was no special counsel put together for the George Floyd riots and the riots of 2020. None. Nobody was thinking about it. Black Lives Matter was involved with that, and a lot of people were involved with that. There was people in the crowd saying, hey, we're going to go riot. We're going to go take people's goods. We're going to go ahead and do all that, and there was not one investigation on that. You know why there wasn't an investigation on that? Because you would have people like Kamala Harris have to face that committee, because she was one that said, hey, if you riot, I will bail you out. That's why they don't have an investigation on this. But that happened all. Now we get to January 6th, because that was a lot of stuff that was holding on the story. So the January 6th committee met on Thursday night, ladies and gentlemen. And I said on the last episode, I'm going to talk about this, and this is newsworthy. But the committee came together, and they hired a former ABC producer, so he can go ahead and put this all together, like production wise and everything, which he did. They looked presentable. They had the lights right. They had everything done good, but it only took minutes for Democrats to invoke KKK slavery during the January 6th. This comes from the Daily Caller. It took just minutes for Democrat Mississippi Representative Benny Thompson to invoke the Ku Klux Klan, slavery, and lynching during Thursday's opening statements of January 6. Committee Chair Thompson delivered the open statement of the hearing investigation, the January 6 riot. I am part of a country where people justified the actions of slavery, the Ku Klux Klan, and lynching, Thomas said. I'm reminded of this dark history as I hear the voices today try to justify the actions of the insurrection of January 6th of 2021. I will debunk something right here from Benny Thompson. Not one conservative, including yours truly, condone what happened on January 6th. You can call it a riot if you want. You can call it insurrection, whatever way you want to put it. I think they had some extremists out there like they have on the left. Look, when I talk about the left, ladies and gentlemen, there is some people on the left that is really extremists. But there is some that say, man, I can't believe they do that, and they leave it alone, just like the right. But ladies and gentlemen, there is some extremists like the Proud Boys. What I did get from this committee, I don't think Donald Trump had a lot to do with pursuing up to the Capitol. Because you got to remember, he said, let's go peacefully and patriotically protest and make our voices heard. But the ones that were screaming lynch Mike Pence and the ones that wanted to go riot, that was mostly the Proud Boys. Now, the committee is trying to push that this was Donald Trump in the background telling what to do, but I don't believe that happened. But so they bring this out. Now, Liz Cheney went ahead and brought out all this stuff. She brought out, they showed a new video. First off, they took a lot of things out of content. Like one of Donald Trump, on the end of the video, they talk about Donald Trump, how people were loving and caring at this event, and then they cut it off. But if you read the full statement of Donald Trump, he was talking about the peaceful protesters. Now, I have a friend, and he guest hosts for me on this podcast, where he went ahead on Facebook and said, no, we were there. We didn't go up to the Capitol building. We didn't do none of that. And guess what? It was peaceful. I think you had some extremists that went up to the Capitol, and they didn't take it light. They were angry. I'm not going to justify the actions of those individuals that went into the Capitol. To be honest with you, if you remember correctly, when I can't, if you go listen to around that time, I said that this hurt the cause for election fraud more than anything. And I'm not. Listen, I don't believe 81 million people voted for Joe Biden. I don't. And instead of letting the process go through, because they had about 5 states that was going to be contested at the electoral vote count, January 6th messed that all up. When at the beginning of it, it was going to be 5, then it went down to 1 or 2, and then the whole focus wasn't on the election no more. It was every time they had a debate, they were talking about the riot on the Capitol. So this hurt a lot. But anyway, back to the Liz Cheney and all this stuff. Liz Cheney went ahead and she brought out some statements. And look, it wasn't nothing new, ladies and gentlemen. It's everything we've heard before. And they didn't bring it out, oh, this is going to be some new information and all that stuff. It didn't happen. Now, this is the part that really got me, though. Now, first off, this is all one-sided. This is what gets me. Liz Cheney, when Benny Thompson went ahead and passed it to Liz Cheney, he said this is a bipartisan committee. I heard one, I can't think of his name, a Democrat that sits on the committee. He was one that was trying to impeach Donald Trump. Say the same thing. This is truly a bipartisan committee. Well, all we're doing is looking for the facts. And that's all we want to do is present the facts to everyone in America. It's kind of funny, though. They're trying to implement Donald Trump in all these cases with the January 6th. But ladies and gentlemen, this would be like somebody going do a crime, and he says, I want my lawyer, and the judge says, that's funny. We don't do lawyers here. Prosecutors, they'll show me your proof. Oh, he did it. Okay, well, sir, you're going to jail. Well, wait a minute. What about well, you don't get representation over here, son. That's how this is right here, ladies and gentlemen. Everyone that's sitting on that select committee, all 9 of them fools, I'm sorry to call them that, but that's what it is. All 9 of them people on that committee voted to impeach Donald Trump. When Nancy Pelosi was putting this committee together, Kevin McCarthy asked for Jim Jordan and Jim Banks to be on that committee. She said no because they're going to be partisan. What you trying to tell me that the other 9 wouldn't? Look, Liz Cheney and that other Republican, that Rhino, and all the 7 other Democrats all voted to impeach Donald Trump. How is that not partisan? Now, like I said, ladies and gentlemen, what happened to the police officers? Which come to find out, they're saying that 5 died because of this event. No, not that day. The only person that was shot that day or hurt that day or died that day was a protester coming in, and a police officer shot her. But CBS and NBC and all of them, they don't show that, ladies and gentlemen. But this whole committee, ladies and gentlemen, and look, I'm sorry to say, I don't trust it. I didn't trust it from the beginning. Oh, because they're going against Donald Trump, Isaac. No, I don't like things Donald Trump did on here. I say this all the time on this podcast. I don't agree with everything Donald Trump did. I even spoke out against Donald Trump. Donald Trump keeping this election fraud thing alive. He might think that might help him win, but people have done things that the Republicans and Republican states have tightened up election laws to where you can't do mail-in ballots the way you did in the last election. I disagree with Donald Trump on Mo Brooks. Mo Brooks was, I think it's a guy from MNC, Chris Hayes, whatever his name is. He was talking about this. Mo Brooks said, hey, let's have a debate on it. I'll debate you anytime. Let's do with it. But I disagree. Donald Trump pulled his endorsement, and I saw an article today. He endorsed the candidate in the runoff election, not Mo Brooks. That was wrong. I'm sorry. I don't always agree with Donald Trump, but the problem with this whole committee is that Donald Trump does not have don't have representation. There's no cross-examination. And this is why I called this illegitimate panel. What they should have done is put Jim Banks, and Jim Jordan on the committee. They should have put other Republicans that would have looked at all sides of the issue. No, this is the problem with this committee. They didn't want the other side. They wanted to be the prosecutors. And they wanted to go ahead. And look, like I said, ladies and gentlemen, I watched it. I watched the majority of it until it came to the witnesses. If I wouldn't have known what I known, I'm like, oh wow, Donald Trump really did do that. They fixed the video. They said the words. They did all this stuff. But ladies and gentlemen, there's a problem with it. They don't talk about the other side. If this was a true committee to see what happened, I would say, yeah, let me see your evidence. But I already know, ladies and gentlemen, they're looking at this that Donald Trump is guilty until we can find he's innocent. And that's not how we're supposed to be in this country. Our country is supposed to defend somebody or treat them as they're innocent until they have been proven guilty. It's the prosecutor's job to prove that they're guilty. But if you don't have nobody defending the defendant, it won't work. And that's not how our country was supposed to be about. Our country is supposed to be fair and balanced. And unfortunately, this committee is not being fair to balance to Donald Trump because they do not want Donald Trump back in that White House. And Liz Cheney, and look, see, bipartisan, let me call out Liz Cheney for a second. Liz Cheney saying, oh, I'm bipartisan because I'm a Republican and they're a Democrat. Remember, Liz Cheney was the one that said, I will fight tooth and nail to make sure that Donald Trump never enters into the Oval Office again. Is that really being fair and balanced on this committee? I don't think so. I'll be right back after this short break.
Cheers and good on you, boys and girls. My name is Scott Ford, and I have a show on Rumble. It's the Scott Ford Show, all in one word, the Scott Ford Show, and it's on Rumble. And I also have a motivational success show on YouTube. So go ahead and subscribe and ring that bell. That would mean a lot to me. Enjoy your life. Thank you, Isaac. God bless.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the third and final segment of this episode of the Cajun Conservative Show. Back to the January 6th committee. Ladies and gentlemen, a lot of people didn't watch this, by the way. I'm just being honest with you. Only 19 million watched this primetime hearing of this political theater. And you might be saying, well, Isaac, 19 million, that's pretty good, not for a prime time. I'm gonna go look at Breitbart because this is the article that it came from. I'm trying to think. Yeah, so the State of the Union. Now, this is President Joe Biden's State of the Union, backward Joe. 38 million watch the State of the Union. Nelson figures obtained by the New York Post. Preliminary Nelson figures obtained by the New York Times, correction, not New York Post, show that ABC drew the biggest audience of 4.8, with NBC and CBS each attracting more than 3 million. According to cable news network, MSNBC drew an average of an audience of about 4.2 million, while CNN drew about 2.6. Now, they didn't put Newsmax in there. Newsmax did show, and that's how I watched it a little bit. Newsmax was showing it. But Newsmax was cutting in and out. And I like Newsmax, don't get me wrong, but that aggravated me about Newsmax, especially me being a commentator and a pundit of political events. I'm trying to watch it and hear everything they're saying, and Newsmax, hey, let me pull in this expert and talk about why this is what Liz Cheney just said wasn't correct. And that, like I said, I like Newsmax. Don't get me wrong. I like Newsmax. So everyone that's listening, oh, he's cutting down Newsmax. No, I like him. It just, I wish they would have, if they were going to show it, just let it play out, and at the breaks and whatever, you can go ahead and give your thoughts and your opinion. That's all I'm saying. But Fox News didn't air it because they wanted to play Tucker Carlson, which I don't disagree with him. Tucker Carlson is probably one of their biggest stars, so they need that time. Carlson blasts the Democrats' hearing as pure propaganda, but a total of 19 million people watched it. Now, early this President Joe Biden's State of the Union, I just said, brought about 38 million, and the first debate between Donald Trump and Biden in 2020 drew 73 million viewers. So, ladies and gentlemen, the only ones that really watched it, to be honest with you, were probably people like me that are pundits that needed to see what was going on so we could explain what was happening. But ladies and gentlemen, now even CNN, there was a CNN legal analyst on their show said that it was one-sided. Now this is coming from CNN. A legal analyst said, no, this was just one side. And it is, like I said, ladies and gentlemen, Liz Cheney and all of them can say whatever they want on this committee because, like I said, they're all against Trump. Look, this whole committee is against Trump. Now, in coming 2020, I mean, not 2020, 2023, when the Republicans do take over the House of Representatives, this committee is probably going to be gone. This whole investigative committee is going to be done away with. I'm going to even say it like this, ladies. Probably a special counsel would have been even better than this event. These representatives coming in. So, you know, a special prosecutor at least would have looked at all the facts, unless he was politically motivated. But, ladies and gentlemen, this right here is just one. Like I said in the second segment, all these people are leaning one side, and that is to stop Donald Trump from running again in 2024. Which you knew my opinion on that. To be honest with you, I do not think Donald Trump should run in 2024. I think Ron DeSantis should run. I think Ron DeSantis would have a better job. And Ron, I heard this, shout out to my boys from Culper's Canteen Cup. I heard their latest episode, and they said that Ron DeSantis is younger. He probably can reach more voters. Donald Trump, when he runs, is going to be close to 80 years old. I'm not saying that Donald Trump is senile or anything, because look what we got right now. President Joe Biden is, I think, 79, 80 years old. And look, we don't know how long is he going to stay in there. So just on that note, that's their whole plan, ladies and gentlemen. This has all been the plan from the beginning from this January 6th committee, is to stop Donald Trump from running in 2024 and implementing his policies again. On that note, let's go ahead and move on to our next topic. So GOP senators released documents showing Biden administration lied about disinformation board, or the truth. I'm trying to think of the name of the board. They say it right here. Anyway, but Republicans, Senator Josh Hawley of Missouri and Charles Grassley of Iowa released a series of documents on Wednesday showing that the Biden administration's Disinformation Government Board was intended to have domestic focus, despite promises from administrative officers. Top Biden administration officers, most notably Homeland Security, Mnuchin, repeatedly claim that the board was focused on disinformation pushed by foreign actors. However, the documents released by Hawley and Grassley reveal that the board intended to target alleged disinformation by topic, not by national origins. The Department of Homeland Security, DHS, paused the board in May before it began operation. I thought it has an option to be brought back. You know why this was canceled, by the way? Just a little history. There was a lot of people that were saying, no, this isn't constitutional. The government of the United States should not be looking at nothing on social media, nothing on podcasts, nothing on YouTube, nothing of that social media anywhere. Because we have a First Amendment right. What I'm doing right here, I'm executing my First Amendment right. And I think I'm doing a real good job. I'm trying to bring out all the facts as I see them and give you my opinion on them. But ladies and gentlemen, this Ministry of Truth, that's what it is. The Ministry of Truth. This board of disinformation was brought to the President of the United States from Homeland Security. And, oh, that's a good idea. Let's do this. And they promoting it as, oh, well, we're going to look at foreign nations. Make sure foreign nations are like, you know, and ladies and gentlemen, I don't care what anyone says. This is in the back of their mind. We don't want Russia to help Trump again. Or we don't want Russia to help anybody else ruin this election. That's their goal, ladies and gentlemen, is to stop Donald Trump, or they're bringing in that Russia will not interfere with elections no more. But as it came to, as we found out, that these documents show a different story, ladies and gentlemen. These documents show that they were not looking at just foreign entities in another country. No, they were going to target like yours truly, Or, like I mentioned my friends earlier, Culper's Canteen Cup, Scott Ford, Lauren Collins, Nate Savage, all the people that I hang out with and are guests on this show. Ladies and gentlemen, they were targeting us. And this not us, because we're small potatoes compared to Tucker Carlson, Sean Hannity, Ben Shapiro, Matt Walsh, all them people. You can talk... I can't think of her name right now. She's with the Daily Wire. She wrote that book, Black. Candace Owens. That's who they were attacking. They wanted to go ahead and stop misinformation. So basically, if you're going against if Homeland Security deemed your segment or your thing as disinformation, guess what? They were going to go ahead and cancel you, or they were going to go ahead and take away your rights to speak on that platform, or they were going to deem you something the government was going to do. Now remember, this is just foreign policies, but according to these documents that were released by these two senators, they wanted to stop domestically. They wanted to stop people inside this country. Ladies and gentlemen, if the government can control what you say, we're no longer a democracy. We're no longer a republic. We're no longer a constitutional republic. We are in a dictatorship because the government can dictate how you can talk and how you can think. They're trying to do that now, ladies and gentlemen. Remember Obama a few years ago said, hey, we should only have at least 3 or 4 sources of news, and that's it. Everyone else cannot speak unless it lines up. Well, ladies and gentlemen, what do you think Hitler did? Hitler did that. You only had a certain amount of people that can bring out the information. You had to trust in people. Same thing with Cuba. You can't go into Cuba and make a podcast and talk against their government. You can't go to Russia and do it. Only the state-led media can go ahead and give you information that the government gives them to tell you, and that is correct. So, ladies and gentlemen, this was just a roundabout way to get around the Constitution for them to monitor American citizens or what they were thinking and what they were saying. And, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry. That, like I said, if you're going to go ahead and do that, we no longer live in a democracy or a republic or a constitutional republic, wherever you want to label us. We're living in a dictatorship. And it's kind of funny, on that note, they called Donald Trump a dictator. Remember, Donald Trump, a dictator. He's a dictator. He wants to dictate everything we do. But it's kind of funny. Biden is putting in these policies or these backroom deals with Homeland Security to monitor how we can speak and how we can think. That's what the Ministry of Truth was. It wasn't, we're trying to stop false information. It was trying to monitor the information. And if it made them look bad, we could take it away. Town Hall says that new details emerged on President Joe Biden disinformation. Governor's board, Republicans are holding Democrats responsible for where its information would have come from, according to a letter addressing the Homeland Security Secretary from Josh Hawley, Republican, Missouri, and Chuck Grassley from Iowa. Whistleblower document revealed that the DHA planned to partner with big tech companies such as Meta and Twitter to monitor so-called disinformation. So, and that goes to another point. A private company going with the government, and the government can tell that media company, hey, you can't allow this, and this, and Meta and Twitter would have had to follow. Ladies and gentlemen, we're getting close, ladies and gentlemen. The left does not want us to have any rights. And I said it the other day. If they could take away our Second Amendment right, they would, and because of that, it would open the door to take away the First Amendment right. You already have pundits saying, let's get rid of the Second Amendment. It's scary, ladies and gentlemen. It's scary. Look, today, I'm going to go ahead and bring this out before I bring my next topic. I might talk more into depth with this. But the Senate reaches a gun control agreement that focuses on 9 points. A bipartisan group of senators announced Sunday that they have agreed to a framework to implement new gun control measures following the tragic Uvalde, Texas, late last month, the tragedy. Today, we are announcing a common sense bipartisan proposal to protect American children, keep our schools safe, and reduce the threat of violence across our country. A group of 20 senators said in a statement, our plan is to increase needed mental health resources, improve school safety and support for students, and help ensure dangerous criminals of those who are adjustedly as mental ill can't purchase weapons. Now, if it stays on that, it's good, ladies and gentlemen. But unfortunately, you have Democrats that want to take away our Second Amendment, and you got 10 round of Republicans, including Lindsey Graham, Bill Cassidy, Richard Barr. Now, look, listen to the Democrats on there. Now, these are Democrat, progressive Democrats. Cory Booker, Ray Blunt, Chris Coons. Ladies and gentlemen, look, on this note, these Republicans doing this could blow the chance for the Congress or the Senate. And look, I'm sad to see Bill Cassidy on this thing. Now, they said 20 senators, 10 were Republicans. So anything they pass, all these 10 Republicans are probably going to vote for it. So it's going to pass. You know what? And I'm starting to agree with a lot of pundits right now, especially one called Moon Grafan. That I listen to him on a regular basis. And he said, you put Republicans, all the Republicans, whatever Republicans that are, let's just say all 50 senator Republicans in a room, and you put two pieces of bread and a piece of ham on the table and said, make me a ham sandwich. I guarantee you they're gonna mess it up. They're gonna do every other way than how the right way that ham sandwich is gonna go. And that's the problem with the Republican Party, ladies and gentlemen. I'm tired of this. The Republican Party has a chance to overwhelmingly win the House and the Senate. Well, a good chance they're going to win the House, and they have a good chance to take over the Senate. Why the heck push these laws? I just don't get this, ladies and gentlemen. I just said it, and that's why I was reminded of this. You take away the Second Amendment, it opens the door to take away the First, because unfortunately we're not living in a democracy no more. We're getting close to living in a dictatorship, and it's sad, ladies and gentlemen. It's sad. I don't know if I should go ahead and get, you know what? I'm going to save that for the next episode. I'm going to save that for the next episode because Biden went on Jimmy Kimmel, first interview in 186 days. And of course, Jimmy Kimmel, Joe, backwards, Joe, you're one of the greatest presidents in the world. And Joe, yeah, thank you, Mom. Thank you for that. If I get into that, I'm going to be a lot longer in my segment. But anyway, let's go on to this, though. I will say this, guys. You're paying higher for gas. Gas reached $5 a gallon. Woohoo! Backwards Joe, ladies and gentlemen. Backwards Joe. So I'm going to... And then blaming Vladimir Putin for it, by the way. Not blaming himself. Inflation has reached 8.6, setting a new 4-decade high... rate. This is going to hurt Joe Biden. Inflation on ice cream. Ice cream prices increased the most in over 40 years. Ladies and gentlemen, what kind of country we're living in? Look, I'm just going to be honest with you, and I've been saying this. America's is going backwards. And the president is at the helm, and even the Republicans are helping him out. And it's sad, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to deal with that next. I'm going to purposely put this into the next show because I went a little long with my last two subjects, but it's okay. Remember, everyone, Jesus Christ is coming back, and he's coming back soon. So don't be faint of heart, because Jesus has overcome the world. If you want to know Jesus Christ, your personal Lord and Savior, send me a link. Send me a message on Apple. Send me a link on Google on my email, the Cajun Conservative 5@gmail.com, or send me a message on Facebook, Twitter, or on True Social, and I'll tell you how to make Jesus your eternal Savior and make heaven your eternal home. So on that note, I'm going to go ahead and close out. I hope you have a good day, good week, and be blessed. Remember, come back next time for more of the Cajun Conservative. I call myself the man of wisdom from the South. So until next time, be blessed, be encouraged, and remember, Jesus Christ is Lord. You have a good one.
Door. He said that Jesus Christ has risen, and he is the open